If you walked through Duthie Park in Aberdeen, would you recognise the Scotsman who saved more lives than any other? Who is he? Why is he here? What's his story? And how has his contribution saved millions? If you're interested in the people, places and events in Scottish history, then click the subscribe button at the bottom right of the screen and ring the notification bell to be told when I upload new videos. In the meantime, let me tell you a story. So do you recognise him? I'm betting that most people won't. This is John James Rickard MacLeod, born in my beloved Perthshire in 1876 and awarded the Nobel Prize for Physiology or Medicine in 1923. Well, more correctly, he was jointly awarded the prize along with a colleague, Frank Banting. Not only that, but Banting decided to split his award with a co-worker called Charles Best. And good old JGR Macleod here shared his with another researcher called James Collip. So in that way, credit in one form or another went to Banting, Macleod, Collip and Best. What wonderful cooperation, camaraderie and mutual respect. Until you realise that by the time it was all over, they would all hate each other. So much so that when Macleod here left his position as Professor of Physiology, not only did co-Nobel laureate Frank Banting refuse to attend the honorary dinner, he insisted that there be an empty chair to show his contempt for his erstwhile supervisor. It's a tough old game, Jock. And to tell you the tale, we're going to have to go to Canada. En route, there are a couple of things that I need to quickly summarise so that this story makes sense. First of all, diabetes. You'll know somebody with diabetes, but you might not even know that you know. Apparently, around 10% of the world's population are affected, but when our mate John MacLeod started working on it, it was a death sentence. Basically, it means that the body can't deal with carbohydrates properly. You take in sugars and you just pee them out. That's why the name diabetes comes from the Greek for siphon or pipe-like. At the turn of the 20th century, the only treatment to avoid the painful mortal effects of the disease and to extend your lifespan by months, maybe a few years, was to slowly starve you to death. It was horrific. Now, there's one tiny bit of medical information that I need to give you. As I understand it, there's an organ in your body called the pancreas. Now, back then, they knew that it was made up of two types of cells. One type makes the digestive juices that squirt into your stomach to digest your dinner before it passes into your bloodstream. If they're no there, you'll get the deli belly. I don't have a medical degree, but I know a guy in a pub that's seen Wikipedia. The second type of cell, when they're no there, your pee tastes like honey, because the sugar from your digested food that's now in the bloodstream can't be dealt with, because you've got diabetes mellitus. The problem was how to fix it. To answer that bit of the question, I need to take you on a journey to Canada. You see, it's in Canada that the discovery of how we fix it was made. Toronto, to be more specific. If you're one of the millions of people who live with diabetes, then that JGR Macleod Memorial in Scotland and this house in London, Ontario are meccas to your survival. You see, the project that John MacLeod led started in this house, now in a busy corner in London, Ontario. The young man who lived here was Fred Banting, a steady but uninspiring school career and a medical degree cut short by the onset of World War I. He served in the frontline medical corps in horrific trench warfare. and was awarded the Military Cross before returning to set up a struggling medical practice. Few patients came, but he managed to get a bit of part-time work teaching at the small local university. And it was that teaching work that accidentally changed his life. Metabolism of carbohydrates wasn't a subject that particularly interested him, but talking the subject was part of his teaching. And having kept one page ahead of the students, he had a stroke of luck. With his talk still in his mind, his monthly medical journal, Surgery, Gynecology and Obstetrics, fell through his letterbox. You're probably expecting me to do that old joke about a gynecologist delivering something through a letterbox, but that's a bit much even for this channel. An American researcher had published observations that he had noticed by accident. Now, I promised that I wouldn't get into the weeds, and I won't, even though you can get weed everywhere in Canada. But I've mentioned that the whole diabetes thing has got something to do with the two jobs done by the pancreas. One, breaking down complex foods in your stomach, and then secondly, metabolizing sugar in the bloodstream. Anyway, this American had been carrying out routine autopsies, post-mortems. One of the cadavers had a pancreatic stone, and it so happened that it had lodged itself so as to block up the pancreatic duct. And it looked like the pancreatic cells that dealt with the breaking down of complex foodstuff had wasted away and atrophied, leaving just the other types of cell that did that second job of dealing with sugar in the bloodstream and stopping your pee tasting like honey. Because of the German guy who first noticed them, we should call these cells islets of Langerhans. But you know I'm going to call it sugar suki stuff. Anyway, it was in this house in November 1920 that Frank Banting lay awake in his bed wondering if he could deliberately block pancreatic ducts, would he be able to isolate the sugar suki stuff and use that to cure diabetics? Nice idea. But who could he talk to about it? This was pre-internet, and the real experts on the subject were in the USA, Romania, Germany. And John James Rickard MacLeod, that Scotsman who, as it happens, was now Professor of Physiology at Toronto University in this very province. To Toronto! On Monday, November the 8th, here at Toronto University, a shy, somewhat hesitant, tongue-tied, struggling young doctor with no research experience and only textbook knowledge of the subject came to pitch an idea to an eminent, articulate senior professor who specialised in metabolism of carbohydrates. The Scotsman showed patience. He wasn't entirely convinced, but as far as he knew, this sugar suki stuff experiment had never been tried before. It was worth trying, and even a negative result would improve understanding. JGR Macleod gave young Banting some lab space and an even younger lab assistant, biochemistry student Charles Best. He also gave them instructions on how to take two sets of dogs, cut out the pancreas of one set of dogs, which would make them diabetic, and tie up the pancreatic ducts of the others to make the pancreas shrivel and isolate the sugar suki stuff. Once there was only sugar suki stuff left in the group of two pancreas dogs, if you know what I mean, graft it onto or chop it up and inject it into the group 1 dogs to see what happened. Then Macleod went off to Scotland for the summer. If you enjoy Bruce Fummey's Scotland history tours, then why not come on an 11-day tour of Scotland to hear them in person? In April 2025, I'll be taking a maximum of 25 people on a storytelling tour of Scotland. You'll see the borderlands of the Reivers, the Jacobite Highlands, Edinburgh, Stirling, Inverness. You'll see Hadrian's Wall, Border Abbeys and Scotland's best castle. I'll take you to prehistoric sites and show you where Scotland was born. You'll see the site of Wallace's victory at Stirling Bridge and Bruce's at Bannockburn. You'll even meet the current Lord Bruce as he tells you tales from his family's history. Add to that one of our Bruce's Scottish comedy shows and a ceilidh to finish. For details, click the link provided or email alexis@scotlandhistorytours.co.uk and let's see Scotland in style. When MacLeod came back from Scotland, there had been a rapid increase in the number of dead and disappeared dogs in the Toronto area. Now, I know there are animal lovers out there, but there have been many more dead humans in my videos, so don't shoot the messenger. Banting and Best had limited success with one dog who had survived with normalised sugar levels for quite some time before it too died. The careful Scotsman wanted more work on a number of fronts. Additional controls, more variables monitored, a tightening of procedures and improved record keeping. But the small success that they'd had was enough for the less experienced Banting, and he demanded MacLeod give him a salary, more space to work, an additional assistant to look after the dogs and repairs to the operating room. Now, MacLeod had a whole department with all its research facilities to worry about, not just one experiment. But his reluctance to supply everything that was asked for was the start of the friction in Banting's mind. As it was, Banting got a lot of what he wanted and guidance about how to go forward. But the friction in Banting's mind would rear its ugly head again. MacLeod suggested Banting and Best give a talk to a private gathering of university staff and students at the Physiological Journal Club. But when MacLeod introduced the presentation by his two protégés, he used the word we. We? 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 There's no we, it's not we, the precious! Under MacLeod's supervision, Banting and Best kept working. Now, if you read the book, The Discovery of Insulin, written by Canadian historian Michael Bliss, you can see two young men learning the ropes of research. Banting's original idea and bloody-minded determination to get some financial stability in his life drove things forward. But he and Best's lack of experience meant that shortcuts were taken, wrong turns were ignored, cul-de-sacs were driven up irrespective of road signs, and negative results were brushed under the carpet. As for MacLeod, he missed some of the signals of emotional conflicts, expecting his team members to understand the conventions of teamwork and discipline, recognising that they were still part of a wider university whole. It was that type of misunderstanding that led to the next flare-up. Although they hadn't solved diabetes, they continued to have interesting results. MacLeod organised for them to give a more high-profile presentation at the American Physiological Society. Now, at their earlier presentation, the one that they'd given in their own university, Banting had asked if MacLeod wanted his name to appear in the paper. But he'd said no, as it was their work. This time, the young researchers thought if MacLeod's name was added to theirs, then people were more likely to take them seriously outside the university. So MacLeod's name was added to Banting and Best. The other last minute change was to one of the star dogs in the treatment programme, it suddenly died. Damn it! The first 75 injections of extract produced 42 favourable results, 22 unfavourable results, and 11 were inconclusive observations. Good, but still a lot left unexplained and a long way to go. Now, we've already suggested that Banting wasn't the greatest speaker, and his presentation to this prestigious group was nervous, faltering, and unconvincing. It drew scepticism in the question and answer section, during which the confident and assured senior Scotsman interjected to save the day. One of the attendees later said, "Banting spoke haltingly, MacLeod beautifully." There may be trouble ahead. Banting was raging. It was his idea. Nasty, wicked, trick-sealed hobbitses. What he didn't consider was how much MacLeod had saved the day and guided him up until that point. MacLeod made another suggestion that would change the game. Why not extract the sugar-sooky stuff with alcohol? This meant there'd be no need to operate on dogs to block up their pancreatic ducts and all that nonsense. And they were actually moving away from Banting's original idea, although he didn't see it quite like that. This was when a new person joined the group. His name was James Collip. Actually, Banting had wanted to get him involved earlier, but it was only with this change of direction that MacLeod thought the additional resource justified. Collip was an experienced biochemist from Alberta with specific skills to bring to this new approach. The problem was that young Charles Best, Banting's assistant, who'd been all right up until now, was a less experienced biochemist. Now they'd introduced a more experienced member, he started to kick off. What's more, MacLeod seemed to be having lunch with the new guy Collip just about every day. And Collip seemed to be making faster progress testing on rabbits instead of dogs. Banting was even more unhappy. At best, MacLeod had been the quarterback of the team and Collip was now doing all the running with the ball as Banting and Best sat in the sidelines. At worst, it seemed like they weren't even on the same side. In December 1922, Collip shared a methodology for an extract pure enough for a clinical trial. But Banting insisted that he should administer it. That involved a clash with another Scotsman who was head of the medical faculty and no doubt in league with his jock pal MacLeod. When a young boy called Leonard Thompson was admitted to Toronto General Hospital on the 2nd of December, he was dull and listless, and he could do no more than lie in his bed all day. He weighed 65 pounds, pale, hair falling out, with a distended abdomen and breath smelling of acetone. Best made some extract with the agreed method. They tested its potency on a dog. On January the 11th, they took the extracts across the street here to Toronto General Hospital. Unless Banting and Best's new extract made a difference, everyone knew the young boy was doomed. No clinical benefit was evidenced. What's more, an abscess caused by the impurities in the extract formed on the site of the injections. Banting and Best's extract had failed. Meanwhile, Collip kept working, using his biochemical experience and expertise to refine a more and more effective extract. Until one day, having found a solution whose purity and efficacy he was sure of, he turned up in Banting and Best's lab with some explosive news. He wasn't going to share the method with them, but patent it himself. You were only supposed to blow the bloody doors off. After months of simmering resentment, this was the first time an actual physical fight broke out. Apparently, a now lost cartoon of the time showed Banting sitting on Collip, choking him with the caption, "The discovery of insulin." It took JGR Macleod to get the parties together and sign heads of agreement that said that Banting, Best and Collip each agree not to patent without the other's permission, and that no modifications be taken without joint agreement. At 11 AM on Monday, the 23rd of January 1922, young Leonard Thompson was administered 5 cc of Collip's new extract. 3 more injections were given over 2 days. By the 24th, young Leonard's blood sugar had dropped by 75%, and diabetic indicators all but disappeared. Collip made a new batch. The boy brightened, looked better, and became active. Up until that day, diabetes was a death sentence. From that day forward, it would be a problematic but controllable disease. This was the first time in the world ever that there would be a solution to a problem that affects over 500 million people in the world today. Untold millions of lives have been saved. Now, there's no way that any one person could be credited with the discovery of insulin. This was a team effort involving other team members that I haven't even mentioned here. On October the 25th, 1923, after examination of the work carried out, 19 assembled professors of the Nobel Prize Committee awarded the Nobel Prize for Physiology or Medicine to JJR Macleod and Frank Banting. Banting opted to share his with Charles Best, and Macleod his with James Collip. But the man who led this fractious team may be the Scotsman whose work saved more lives than any other. Unless you think it's... What other Scotsman do you think it might have been? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Oh, and the best way to let YouTube know that you enjoyed this video is to give it a thumbs up. But we're not quite finished. In 1928, Macleod came back to Scotland to become Regius Professor of Physiology and then Dean of the Faculty of Medicine at the University of Aberdeen. He contributed the last 7 years of his life back in the town where he'd first studied medicine. When he left Toronto, the friend who took him to the station noticed him drag his feet along the ground. His friend asked what the shuffling was all about. Macleod said, "I'm wiping away the dirt of this city." It's such a shame that a breakdown in personal relationships tarnished such an immense achievement for the city of Toronto and the country that had been Macleod's home for so long. The truth is that for all the tartan pageantry and Highland gatherings, there can be no more important link between Scotland and Canada than the dysfunctional, argumentative, faltering, but ultimately successful team led by the man who lies here. Another transatlantic Scotsman, Andrew Carnegie, said, "Teamwork is the ability to direct individual accomplishments towards organisational objectives. It's the fuel that allows common people to attain uncommon results." JGR Macleod put that into practice, and millions of lives have been saved. Of course, John MacLeod is just one of the Scottish scientists and inventors who have changed the world. There's a video about possibly the most astonishing world-changing Scottish scientist coming up. You really should watch it. Just click the video link on screen now. Support the channel by clicking top right to become a Patreon member, or buy me a coffee in the description below. But no sugar. Ha mi yn doch ysgwyn mi lam a life. Cheery and drasta.